Good morning, Kayla.
Hi, Kalua. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. I'm the recipient of some awesome tea, which I'm going to.
Oh, you got it. Yay. And I'm so glad you're back.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. Good to see you again.
You too.
Hi, Nola. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Nola sprained her ankle this weekend, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
so not so good. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
What did you do, Nola? How did it happen?
I was jumping over the fence and there was a hole in the ground that I landed in.
It's hidden by grass.
Oh, ouch. Oh, I am sorry. Need to rest up and maybe ice it.
Oh yeah, we've been doing herb poultices and all kinds of things on it. Oh, let me just pause this quick.
Of their families and how close they are to them or not. I encourage everyone at this time to be aware of who you are close to and start thinking about what would happen if you were traveling to visit those you were close to and something happened to you. Do you have those legal documents in place to tell the world how you want to be treated medically and who will take care of your finances if somehow you are unable to be found, are unaccounted for, or if you could not take care of those? And so if you don't have any of this in place, I encourage you to contact an estate planning attorney to get that process started. I am available. I give free consultations, and if we are a good fit, I would be happy to take care of you for a small investment. And when I say small, I mean much smaller than North Carolina's probate tax that your family would be saddled with if somehow a bad thing would happen to a good person. So keep that in mind, and I look forward to hearing from you. Again, that's Erin Edgar, Caring Estate Planning Solutions for the Evolving Family. I am not sure how this hot seat thing works. So if someone could really enlighten me about what I'm supposed to do, that would be excellent. I've been here for a while, but I'm really confused.
Yeah, so do you want to go more in depth about what it is you do, or do you want to just, start with some questions and get feedback from the group?
Okay, I think I will go a little bit more in depth to start. To talk about 3 myths of the estate planning process. So I serve families, and we don't think about needing wills or any of these documents when we're younger. But I'm here to just bust that myth wide open. So we think 3 things: we're not old enough, we're not we're not old enough, we don't have enough money to do this, and we don't have enough time to do this. We don't own enough as well. So I guess there are really 4, but I'll focus on 3, which is we're not old enough, we don't have enough time. I'm sorry, we don't have enough money, and we don't own enough. I had a friend who was at a restaurant with her husband on a cozy date, and she was about 35, and she had 2 kids. They were at home, and she looked at her husband and she said, "Honey, what are we going to do if something happens to us? We get in a car wreck or something, and we're in the hospital. What's going to happen to our kids?" And he rolled his eyes at her and he said, "Only a lawyer would think about this." But she said, "No, I'm really," and she was a lawyer. She said, "No, I'm really serious. I've been wondering this for a long time. What would happen to them? Because legally, we don't have any guardianship papers in place for them. We don't have anything in place for who would take care of them, who would take care of us if we're sick and in the hospital, who would make those treatment decisions, and what would happen to our money? How would our kids be protected financially?" So she knew what to do about it. She was a lawyer. She went and created an estate plan. But most people don't know what to do and don't even think about it. But these things happen. Bad things happen to good people. And so, one of those myths that I mentioned, we're not old enough. Bad things could happen to us at any time, and we need to be protected ourselves. We need to protect ourselves to make sure that we have enough uh, um, of a legal shield in place, not to go off of legal shield, but this is what these documents are. There are oxygen masks. They tell the world, for instance, who we want to make our medical decisions if we can't, who we want to handle our finances if we can't, if we have kids, who we want to take care of our kids if we can't, because if we don't have anything in place for that, our kids get sent to social services and they do their best to place them with our family. But those people might not be the ones that we want caring for our children, for various and sundry reasons. Also, if we are, if we die somehow, because death is the only certain thing in life, no one will be able to access our money and our assets to care for our children unless we legally name someone and put our assets in a certain form so that they can be accessed. A will doesn't do it. You need something else. So those are things that need to be considered. I'm not old enough. We're never too young. Especially during a pandemic, we need to consider what would happen to us in case of illness, because sometimes during illness, we're not able to communicate what we want in terms of treatment. During a pandemic, a lot of us can become very seriously ill. Some people with, COVID-19 have died, and it's a very, very hard situation. So when preparing for some kind of crisis or disaster, we don't want to make it an emergency. We want to make it something that is more of a process and we have things set up. The other myth that I want to focus on is I'm not old enough. No, I'm sorry. I don't have enough. I don't have enough assets to create an estate. So these things it's interesting because when you think of an estate, you think of some kind of mansion. It's just like this sprawling vista of parks and gardens and turrets and towers on this big Gothic house. But you don't need that much to create an estate. When you die, everyone has an estate created for them. It's a legal concept. It's basically a legal container to hold everything that you own so that it can be distributed to those people that the law thinks you care about. If you don't have a will or any kind of trust document or anything, the law will just make something up. It's really not makeup. It's like a default system. It's called intestacy. And it's basically everything you own will be distributed in various quantities to your blood kin. Your spouses can claim a share of your estate, but it's really not a whole lot. And your estate, everything you own. So even if you own a car and household furniture and a joint interest in your home with your spouse, if you own a home, is an estate. Even if you rent your home, an estate is open for you, even if you don't have much. It's called a small estate if it's under $50,000 of assets. Bank accounts, everything goes in there. So you're never in a position where you don't have enough to create an estate. The other myth is that I don't have enough money or
Hey,
time.
Erin, Really
Yes.
quick before
Oh,
you
I'm
go on to
sorry.
that? Oh, no, that's
Yes.
okay. I just see a question from Kayla on that.
Uh-huh.
Does an estate plan include power of attorney, living will, last will, and testament?
Yes, those are the documents I was talking about, although I don't tend to mention them because people get trapped in a lot of legalese at times. So yes, those are the things that are included in an estate plan. And if you want further protection from probate, which was my next myth, I don't have enough money to actually get this process done, and I don't have enough time, which is basically hiring an attorney would cost too much and be too much of an expense in investment. Those things are, I want to bust that one open as well. If you don't have enough, you don't believe you have enough. So the money aspect, if you do not create anything, or you only have a will, a last will and testament, and you die and the will is probated, there's a process called probate. It takes ages. It can take over a year, and probate is taxable. So the process has a high tax. In North Carolina, there's no estate tax. In other words, the inheritance, the people you give things to are not taxed on what they get, but your estate itself is taxed in probate. In North Carolina, it's a 4% tax. So if you only have a will and your brother or a spouse is your administrator, and they go through the process, the clerk of court sends them a bunch of documents, they fill it out. Some of you may have been in this process with your parents. They fill out these documents, the distributions are made. There is a 4% tax that's taken off the top before anything is given to anyone. So if you've got a home, you've got some assets. Let's say you own your own home. That's a large asset. So if you have an estate of $400,000, which is easy to do when you own your own home, the probate tax that will be taken off the top before anything is distributed is $16,000. If you hire an attorney, the attorney will charge you possibly 25% or less of that, but can protect things from probate so that you are not taxed. This is when the attorney will create some trust planning for you that will put your assets into a trust so that they will not be taxed in probate. The trust also has another purpose. If you have children, it's vital because if you die and you've got children under the age of 18, the guardian of your children needs access to those assets to provide for your children. And if if you've got assets in trust, they essentially skip probate. And the guardian gets those assets, if not immediately, very soon, once or if that trust is created. So a lot of attorneys encourage people to make an investment and create this plan. It has a little more complexity than if you just had a will, but it also has more protection for you and your children if you've still got children. So in summary, you don't have to there's no concept of enoughness when talking about an estate plan. You always have enough, and you often need a guide to help you to get through this process. And I would strongly recommend an attorney over LegalZoom because an attorney has a relationship with you, takes you through, counsels you. LegalZoom, you fill out a form and you wonder if you got it right. And most people do not have it right and don't know how to get the documents executed correctly. So that in more of a nutshell is what I do. I am apologize that I was a little unprepared today, but if there are any questions, I would be happy to answer them at this time.
Well, Erin, I want to actually add to what you were saying a little bit. We know there's another homeschool family that we spend time with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, the mom stays home. There's 4 kids.
Ooh.
Got 4 kids, yeah. And the husband is the sole provider. He goes out to work. Well,
Mm-hmm.
just last Tuesday, he was taken in a car accident.
Wow.
And
Oh.
they're doing a GoFundMe basically
Mhm.
to, I mean, what is going to happen? Does she go back to work? And, can she even afford to? Because you've got to put 4 young kids in daycare. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like their whole life is upside down. And clearly, if they're doing a GoFundMe to cover, funeral costs and things like that,
Oh my God.
there's probably not a plan in place.
He may not even have had life insurance,
That's
which
what
is
I'm
a separate
thinking.
issue. If
That's what
there are
I'm
if
thinking.
there are funeral costs outstanding, that is
Yeah.
terrible. And
So,
that's,
and that's a perfect example. Yeah. Okay. They're the earthy homeschool people,
yeah.
and yeah, they may not have the villa, but at the end of the day, it's so important to have something set up because, like you were saying, they might not even be able to access the bank account
Hmm.
with him not there. And
Yeah. And if
Most
you,
people have joint bank accounts, Kula, but I do think
well,
not all.
term insurance
not everybody.
is super cheap and, definitely should be on your radar if you're not insured. It's not a
Mhm.
very expensive thing to do. And it's obviously, but the other thing I was going to weigh in is working at the bank. People came in with those wills from LegalZoom saying
Uh-huh.
they went before a judge and the judge said, I'm not honoring this. It's not
Yeah.
properly executed.
Yep.
And basically said, why would you spend so little money on such an important document? This is your
Mhm.
fault. Get out of my courtroom, kind of a very hard
And
on them.
I will say that they have also put themselves through extra cost because they've taken it to the clerk of probate, they've taken it through probate court, and then they've taken it to court. And that's extra cost that they could have saved themselves if they'd had these, documents properly created and properly executed.
Yes, it's like a penny wise, pound
Mhm.
foolish kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Erin,
Mhm.
how often or what are the indicators that you share with people as to when they should update their will? Like I know when my kids became adult age,
Mhm.
we updated our will at that time. But are there any other indicators that you guide people as to when they should review, how often they should
Mhm.
review, how often those change?
So I recommend that people update their wills. They must update their entire estate plan, powers of attorney, wills, living wills, everything. Every every time they go through a life transition. And when I'm talking about life transition, I'm talking about death of a loved one. You need to make a check to make sure everything's still kosher and it's still what you want. Deaths of a loved one affect people very deeply. The second time you should update another type of transition, divorce. Oh my goodness, so many people have so many problems because they don't do that. Third transition, you buy an asset or acquire an asset of some kind, money, a home, uh, other types of things like that. I recommend that people update every 3 to 5 years. This may seem drastic, but there are a lot of things that could change every 3 to 5 years that you're not even aware of. Not just big transitions, but oh, well, I'm named my friend John in my healthcare power of attorney to be my agent. I no longer trust John. He's not my friend. We don't even talk anymore. And maybe you haven't even had a fight. You just don't even know where he is. He moved, right? And he may not even be your primary agent, but he might be your secondary agent. It still doesn't matter. It still needs to be updated because your primary agent might not be around when you need him or her. So the reason I say every 3 to 5 years, people don't think that these transitions are important. They don't even think about it. But if they know that they need to update their will every 3 to 5 years, an attorney takes you through everything, or your estate plan. An attorney takes you through everything, and you might realize, oh, wait, John moved. We don't talk anymore when an attorney starts guiding you through the process. So I just tell people every 3 to 5 years, put it on your calendar, call your attorney, tell your attorney you want an update, you want to look at it, a review. And this brings me into something that I offer that many attorneys do not. I offer a couple of unique things, one of which is a lifetime plan. So if you create documents with me, all of those documents I will update for you for no additional charge. I will do a review. And if you don't need any additional documents, I will update the ones you have, and I will not charge you anything for that. If you need additional documents, we can negotiate a price for that, and those will also be lifetime updates. The reason that this is important is because every time you contact an attorney for an update, you're going to get charged. You're going to get charged, I don't know, whatever that attorney's hourly rate is to review a document. The average hourly rate for an attorney is in Raleigh is $250 to $300 an hour. And then each document added onto that, the cost of updating it, it may take the attorney an hour. They may charge you an hour for each. So it's added on and added on and added on. Every time, let's say you're paying $1,000 to get your documents updated, and I will not charge you that. I have a lifetime plan and a once and done plan. They are several $100s apart, but in the end, the investment is probably worth it because it will save you money coming back to get updates. And the relationship that you have with your estate planning attorney is very important. It's like a doctor. Every time you go to a new doctor, isn't it a pain? You have to fill out a new chart. You get asked all these questions over again. If you go to a new estate planning attorney, it's the same runaround. You go every 5 years, you find a new one. They're asking you the same things over and over again. You don't need to go through that. You should be with an attorney who knows you, really enjoys working with you, and is able already to kind of know what you need before you and do a, to know what you need immediately almost. To consult with you about the things that are important and know what your past relationship was like. So I'll leave you with that.
So, with that in mind, I'm thinking that knowing you personally would benefit people feeling more at home with you.
Absolutely.
So you have such a cute story about how you got married with your husband. Why don't you tell that story? I love this story, guys. Listen to this
Okay.
story. It's so fun.
I'm not sure which one, but my
Well, just
husband,
go ahead.
my husband and I met in college, and he was a senior and I was a freshman. I was about 3 days into my college career, and we met in a parking lot. A friend of mine, who was also a friend of his, introduced us. And we realized after our initial meeting, while we were still standing there, that we had been talking for 45 minutes and basically ignoring the other people who I got introduced to at the time. And we remained friends for a while and then started dating. And then, I don't know, 9 years later, I told him, if we're not engaged by the time you're 30, we need to have a serious talk. I'm getting really tired of waiting. So
Take charge, Erin. Take charge.
3 weeks before his 30th birthday, he proposed and gave me a very beautiful ring, which of course I'm not wearing today. But yeah, that's how we met, and I finally had to take charge.
I love that. So it's nice to know an attorney is very nice and kind, but when she needs to be forthcoming, she's capable of doing that. And I think that's kind of what is remarkable about Erin. I like that about Laura too. Laura's all smiles and coffee, but when you need her to be a pit bull with the other agent, boy, she's a scary person. Instant presto.
Yeah.
I love that about her. She can switch personalities in a heart attack. And it's nice to know that somebody who's advocating for you has a backbone and can do so. Don't you think, guys? Mm-hmm. Okay, crickets. Well, I think so.
Lacking energy
nodded.
today.
Everybody nodded.
People hear legal stuff and it just drains the energy right out of the room. It's a known fact.
Well, is there anything that you want to ask the group, Erin?
Well, I would ask how many people here have created an estate plan and not used LegalZoom, used an attorney? Can we have a hand count?
1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4.
How many of those people have had their estate plan updated in the last 5 years?
I see 2.
Okay. We're doing okay. How many people are in the meeting today?
12.
Okay.
Nope, it went down. Sorry. Yeah, 12.
Well, this fits national statistics. About 75% of Americans do not have a will, and less than that, about only 15% of Americans have a power of attorney for finance, and even fewer have a power of attorney for health. And I will say that healthcare power of attorney is really, really important, because you are the owner of your own body. And if you go to a hospital, you can't communicate about your treatment, hospitals will not always accept the word of your spouse. That is something for everyone to think about. So we all think, oh, well, our husband or wife can step in for us. In very serious treatment decisions, that's not always true. Above and beyond this, I would submit that if you're in that situation, your money can't be accessed. It might not be able to be accessed. Doctors will not listen to, your loved ones always. Do you want your loved ones in all that stress, trying to figure out what to do for you, and arguing and fighting with the doctors, and feeling that stress and pain, while at the same time emotionally upset about your own condition and what will happen to you and how it's uncertain? I'll just leave you with that, and to think about that. And if anyone wants a free complimentary consultation, I have a questionnaire that you can fill out, and we can schedule one to discuss what your needs might be. And I will put that in the chat again. I put it in once, but I'll put it in again.
Okay.
This is a very good reminder today, Erin. Thank you so much. Actually, it's what did I say? Don't do as I do, do as I say. Where I'm speaking to my husband about my mother-in-law, who my father-in-law passed away in December, and my mother-in-law wants to move out of her house and into another house very, very quickly. She's already found something to move into, and the laws in Norway are a little bit different, but what she's managed to achieve at the age of 78 is a bridging loan. So she's going to have one house, one place, one house, another, and the bank involved, and it's a real pickle, and she has no legal paperwork in place at all. And being a lady of 78 who has battled cancer last year and is quite frail, that's going to leave a real pickle for my husband and his two sisters if something were to happen to her in the not distant future. And yet, I'm busy saying to my husband, gosh, your mother should really make a will. And there's me with my hand up saying, maybe we haven't revisited what we have planned. So it's a great timely reminder, Erin. Thank you so much for that. Oh, Erin, are you talking? You're on mute.
My bad. It's amazing how many people, when I give presentations or talk to people, say, thank you for that reminder. We don't have anything in place. And the reality is, we love to believe that we're in control of everything, but we're not in control of that one final thing.
It will be a pickle. It will be, if something were to happen to her, it will be a huge lot of money and time invested, and back and forth, and
not just
arguing.
that.
It's going to be awful.
It's going to be very emotional.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And
we don't want to, people think about wills, about, we think about our own mortality, and that's quite scary.
Very, very scary. And we, and a lot of attorneys focus on, another thing that makes me a little unique is that a lot of attorneys focus on your money and your assets, and how, you want to be able to give them to whomever you wish, and you want to make sure that your legal wishes are followed, and that's great. But what a lot of people don't often think about is that an estate is so much more than what you have accumulated as far as material goods. And I focused on that earlier because it's the easiest for people to understand and connect with. But your estate is also your spiritual wealth, your values. It has to reflect the people that you hold most dear in your life, as far as those you provide for, and how you help them continue their lives and enrich their lives. And so I also offer, as part of my estate plan, not only the documents that Kayla pointed out earlier, but I also offer to those who want it the ability to record for posterity and store their life's wisdom and advice for their loved ones. It's called a life review. And a lot of death doulas will do this for their patients. An end of life doula will do this, but I do this for people who are creating estate plans, even families. What do you want to tell your kids? What is the most wonderful memory you have of your children that you want them to remember too, and why? Those kinds of things are not really, legally, they're not in the documents, but they are important as far as the way in which you design your documents, because these kinds of memories and thoughts and ideas you want to also leave for your loved ones. It's a very spiritual process, and a lot of attorneys don't consider that.
You know, Erin, I was thinking that because my son just recently got married, one
Oh,
the one of the population that's probably very ill served are newly wedded couples, because they, as you were saying, you know, they think that they're too young. And you know, it's the same thing with investing. You know, it's like, you know, the earlier you start the better, and once you have, you know, a spouse, or my son in Arizona just purchased a house, and though he's not married yet, it's still an asset that if something were to happen to him, he's an adult who deals with that. How is that dealt with? So probably a very ill-served population.
it's a very ill-served population, along with young families with children, and so that's my target market. Those people that are ill-served and may not even know or think about it. And
Erin?
yes,
Oh,
we're
I'm sorry.
running out of time.
Oh, no, no. I wanted to say that that document that you do is really special and unique. And, obviously estate planning is a heavy topic, and it's not, something that people are like, woohoo about.
Yeah, you don't.
But I almost think really leading with that, because think about how many parents have ever worried about, oh my goodness, what would happen if something happened to me, and I have young children, and like, I don't know, that really makes you special. And just letting people know that you're like giving them immortality almost, like, so that
That's a
their
good
children can
point.
always know them, and you know what I mean, and how important they were to them, or that you've created this thing for them.
hmm And some people, and some people don't want it, and that's fine. It's kind of like a bonus. In this day and age, it's very easy to do. All you do is, get on Zoom and have a video conference, and then, it can be, it's digitally stored, and you can have it. But and so that is one reason why, I offer that. It's very little cost to me, but I also think it's really important for people to be able to put into words, with a little, help and assistance, why the people in their life they've left things to matter to them. Um, I received something from a family member in a small inheritance once, and I was like, okay, that's nice, but I don't understand. I appreciate that I mattered to this person. However, I would really like to have known why. And your will does not necessarily say, I'm leaving X, to my sister, and this is the reason why. So that life review offers you the opportunity to kind of spell that out a little bit. Is there anything else that I can answer for people while I'm in the hot seat here?
I think you've done a great job. That's why there's
Yeah.
crickets.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. I'm happy to talk with you at any time. My information is in the chat, and if you fill out my form, I can always contact you through the contact information you leave there.
I think there's a lot of steam coming from everyone's brains. They're all working.
Lots of food for thought there for sure. I think we're
Yeah.
all pondering and thinking about those relationships and things that we do or don't have in place. So thank you once again, Erin. That was amazing.
And that was my goal today, to give you some food for thought. So I'm glad that I've accomplished that. And I look forward to meeting with you all again. And Jenny, I could just listen to you talk forever.
I said the same thing, Erin. You're so funny. I actually
Could
booked
listen
time to just have a cup of tea with her, not to even talk shop, just to
Yes, a
chat her
cup
up.
of tea. That
Linda
cream
and I
tea.
having our
lovely
get
voice.
together. So
Erin, Kayla said, beautiful presentation, Erin.
Oh, thank you, Kayla. I had turned my chat alerts off, so thank you, Kalua, for letting me know.
Yes. Yeah, that can be a little distracting when you're talking.
It's also distracting because mine talk.
Yeah,
and I get a
exactly.
little, I get a little, I can't concentrate on both. So.
Yeah. Did you have something, Linda?
I was going to say, are we going to switch over to announcements, do you think? Or
Yeah. Does anybody have any announcements they'd like to share?
So 2 things I want to say. The first thing I want to say is that for the first time, I am so thankful for the pandemic. And let me tell you why.
Oh.
Because the pandemic, I got to meet Jenny from Norway. She told me about this lovely tea company in England that serves tea, and you get like a little chest with all the sandwiches and scones and teas, and you deliver it to someone's house so they can have tea. Then I was on a networking event with somebody from Canada who has a daughter in Liverpool and says, I would love to send her tea. So now I'm actually the proud being able to say that I do international connections.
Fantastic.
That never happened if we didn't have a pandemic. So I kind of just like in connecting people and across the globe. That's amazing.
And can I just add to that, Linda, that the strange thing is that my friend Jane, who runs the English Cream Tea Company, about 5 years ago, no, maybe perhaps a little even further, she found out that she was adopted and that she was actually Canadian.
What?
Wow.
And traced all her family, met up with her real mum and her biological sisters, and has a little place in Toronto. So talking about these degrees of separation, that she is, when you listen to Jane, she has the most beautiful, she sounds like the Queen, the cut glass, beautiful English accent. And yet she really is truly Canadian. So there we go, round and round we go around the globe. So
yeah, well, I bet her mother, adopted parents spent a lot of money on her allocution lessons. That's all the rave in England, you know. The other thing I wanted to announce is that the Wilmington chapter leader has stepped down, and we are looking for people. So I know everyone here doesn't live in Wilmington, but everyone here knows people. So if you know of somebody who is interested in taking over the chapter, we do have support for you, because we have Laura going back and forth, and she wants to support somebody, but she can't take on the role because she's going back and forth. There's just too many irons in the fire for her to assume that role, but she will be very supportive. She's an incredibly supportive person anyway, so there's that. But spread the word. We're looking for somebody to see if we can keep that chapter going, or, you know, before we put it into hiatus. It's always who you know, right?
Also, Linda, will you talk a little bit about the holiday party?
So I wasn't going to announce it until the newsletter.
Oh,
but
well, you did at Apex meeting last week.
I did?
Yes.
Well,
thank you, Tammy.
I apologize then. All right, well, you're going to get a newsletter with all the details very quickly. December 4th is our holiday party. It's a Friday from 7 to 8:30, floating. The first 25 people that RSVP, and how you RSVP is you'll send an email to 1099ladiesnetworking@gmail.com, and in the subject line, just write RSVP, because we get a little bit of email there, and I want to make sure that you don't get overlooked. And please put in your address, because the first 25 people are going to get mailed a swag bag. Unless I see you in person, then I'll hand it off to you in person, save a few dollars in postage. But in any event, we will have an unpacking. We're going to have a getting to know you bingo. That's going to be kind of fun. For that, I'm looking for fun facts about you, things that people might not know straight away. So like Jenny can't put, where do I live? Because we would all know Norway. But things a little bit more rarer than that. And so during the course of playing the game, we'll get to know fun things about each other. And there will be prizes. Heidi of Parkland Jewelry is going to be offering jewelry prizes to the bingo winners. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So please consider yourself invited. RSVP if you want that swag bag. And I'm really looking forward to celebrating that. And don't have to write any of this down because it will definitely be in the email that's forthcoming around November 1st.
So what I want to know is, sorry, what I want to know is, do RSVPs sent now count? Because you've told us about it.
Sure, absolutely.
And it is a virtual party. So you'll get the swag bag of stuff that you can have like along with everybody on the party.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you can still RSVP. If I go past 25, I mean, you're still invited and we still delight you, but we just
Don't get the swag bag.
correct.
Mhm.
What time is that again on the 4th?
7 to 8:30.
Okay.
Friday from 7 to 8:30. Floating. So, if you want to come early or leave early, I mean, it's all good. It's just a party.
Did you say 4th December or November?
4th of December.
December.
Mhm. I'll stay up late then. I'll come
Well,
with
That is really late.
Well, she's 6 hours behind us. So,
No, ahead of us.
Ahead of us.
oh,
Ahead.
never mind. I'm tired. I have not had any coffee today. Yeah, so what time would it be? It would be like 1 a.m, right?
Yeah, but I'm up at that time anyway because when I'm speaking to people in Los Angeles and Australia, I'm still nattering away, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, because when I spoke to Germany this past weekend, and it was like, she was like, it's 12 o'clock here, because it was 6-hour meeting, and it was like we were talking to Australia, England, and 3 of us were US. So it was fun because we were like trying to do the time zones, and I'm Eastern, they were Central and all that. So it was fun because we were like, okay, what time is it there? So.
And did everybody
I'm taking an online.
accent?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was wondering if everybody was jammering on about Tammy's New York accent.
No, I was saying that I'm taking an online course to get certified in transformational coaching. And we're all in different parts of the world. And so we have like a group that meets and we all have to coordinate like, okay, who's in Europe, who's in Australia, what time can we meet? So online, meeting online is